We use Google and other search engines as tools to find answers to our questions. But did you know that Google, Bing, and Yahoo search only a small fraction of the web? That's good enough for finding a local restaurant review. But what about sources for a research paper? In this video, we'll compare the open web to databases, their strengths, weaknesses, and what you're likely to find in each. Let's start with the open web. Apart from the sheer quantity of information available, the open web truly shines when answering questions of the current moment. Google indexes news stories, Twitter feeds, blogs, information at its birth. Best of all, it's free. Let's imagine you're researching a long, controversial topic, capital punishment. What might you find from a Google search? For starters, you might see the latest news articles on lethal injection chemicals or websites for advocacy groups. The open web gives you great access to news and popular conversations on a topic. You might also find scholarly articles, in-depth journalism, and long opinion pieces mixed in with, but undifferentiated from, other forms of information. So if you have access to all of this for free, why bother looking anywhere else? First, much of the information you will find in blog posts, news articles, and websites doesn't have the benefit of scholarly analysis, which takes time and is often published in places you have to pay to access or behind paywalls. Second, while there is quality information on the open web, it takes time to sift through it. And third, the information on the open web may not be accurate, in-depth, up-to-date, or comprehensive. Libraries subscribe to vetted, paywalled, and organized content in the form of databases. A database is simply structured data. In other words, instead of having a big jumbled mess of authors, titles, and page numbers, these elements are arranged in such a way so that related points are linked to or are next to each other. Scholarly databases contain references to articles, books, and reports, often with detailed descriptions, so that you can see if they are relevant to your topic and your interests. Google itself has one such database, Google Scholar. Google Scholar cuts across all disciplines from anthropology to zoology. It also links to summaries of scholarly books and articles alike. However, the information on Google Scholar may be varied in content and quality, and Google Scholar may not capture all the scholarly resources that are out there. But wait, is Google Scholar part of the open web, or is it a database? That's a tricky question. Google Scholar is a database that searches both kinds of data, free articles on the open web and proprietary articles that only exist behind paywalls. Often, Penn libraries pay so that you will have access even to the proprietary content. Let's return to our example. Search for capital punishment in Google Scholar, and your results will be very different from the previous search on the open web. Instead of seeing websites and news articles, you will see books and journal articles. If you access Google Scholar from the library's website, you can even connect to resources behind paywalls. Google Scholar is a large, interdisciplinary database. But what if you only want specialized books and articles on a subject? You'll want to consult a subject database. The library pays for access to these databases so that you can search through them and access the content without difficulty. What will you find in a subject database? For starters, you'll find books, articles, and reports from publications that have been vetted by topic experts. Subject databases also feature advanced searching capabilities, like the ability to click on subject headings to get to related pieces. One big difference. Because sources are all checked by topic experts, there aren't nearly as many results as you would find on Google or Google Scholar. That can be a good thing. It often means less time wading through irrelevant results. Or it could be frustrating if you aren't finding immediately what you want. Databases aren't usually as good at interpreting natural language searching the way Google Scholar is, so you may need to simplify your search or use advanced search features. Returning to our example again, what might you find on capital punishment in a subject database? That depends on which database you picked. You'll find a very different scholarly article on capital punishment in a history database, perhaps a view of the death penalty in the 19th century, than you would in a chemistry database, which might show a result on the chemicals used in lethal injections. In this video, we've looked at information presented in 3 different places: on the open web, in a large interdisciplinary database like Google Scholar, and in subject databases. Let's review a few of the benefits and drawbacks of each. The open web is a great place to look for current information. It's also a perfect place to find news and popular conversations in the form of websites, blogs, and social media. While the open web is easy to search, it actually only captures a fraction of the information on the internet. Google Scholar begins to scratch that surface, and it returns descriptions of scholarly books and articles. Google Scholar contains both open resources and articles that are proprietary. These resources are interdisciplinary, and while they are deemed to be scholarly, the level of quality control and the scope are unclear. Subject databases contain links to scholarly material that has been selected by topic experts. They are smaller and focused on a single discipline and have advanced searching features. You can contact a Penn librarian at any stage of your search for information. Simply head to the Penn Library's homepage and look for the Ask Us tab.